This is your dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. Starting from humble beginnings, Nick has been beating the markets for over 2 decades. He shares with you his take on the profitable trades that will have you moving towards financial freedom in no time at all. To see an in-depth review of his track record and much more, go to inthemoneystocks.com.
Welcome. This is your daily dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. I'm your host, Kerry Lutz. It's 6/12/23, and this is show number 501. Well, a big week ahead for the markets, Nick.
I think it's a huge week, Kerry. We're going to have a lot going on. Tomorrow, we get the CPI report before the opening bell at 8:30. On Wednesday, we get the PPI report before the opening bell at 8:30. Then on Wednesday afternoon, we have the FOMC announcement. That's where the Federal Reserve will make their policy decision for the U.S. Obviously, everyone is expecting the Fed to keep rates unchanged. They're going to do a pause this meeting, and then we'll hear what they have to say via the verbiage. But this is a big week. And then, to top it off, you have quadruple witching options expiration on Friday. 4 different asset classes expiring. Friday afternoon, we'll get a lot of rebalancing. This is going to be a wild week. Stocks are going to be all over the map. I will tell traders, if we warn everybody about the Shark Week that takes place each and every Options X, this is the real Shark Week.
Oh, yes, we know that. So what do you think the CPI is going to show? What's the consensus on it?
Energy has gone down a bit. So I would think that's where you're going to see, some deflationary pressures, but food prices are very high. Gas prices still are very stubborn. So I'm not really sure what to make out of it. I don't obviously ever believe the report. I think it's all doctored, but we'll see how the market reacts. That's really the most important thing. But they'll probably talk, and TV will probably tell us, the talking heads on television, about energy prices declining, particularly oil, which is down again today. But, we're seeing a lot of inflation in a lot of other places. I mean, I just went and I'm a boater. I just went to go buy some shackles, and I just can't believe how pricey they are. They've tripled from, 2 years ago. So, there are a lot of inflationary pressures. We'll see how the reaction is, though, from the market.
So do you think during quadruple witch, gold and silver get slammed again?
Well, I always kind of think gold and silver will go down during Options X. So that's my theory. I don't know why it happens, but even today, we have both gold and silver down. Silver's down 1.5% as we speak. So, I just always look for gold and silver to go down. We've kind of seen the pattern, and it really hasn't changed. So I'm going to say yes, gold and silver will probably pull back a bit this week.
All right. I think that's a pretty safe bet, and maybe they'll crash it down below 1900, right?
Yeah, right now the big psychological level for gold is 1940. I've given that level on here, way before it even tested that level. And that's the level that's held. So if we break through that, especially on a weekly close, then gold is vulnerable for another big decline. And the next big decline, could be significant. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. 1940s holding right now. We're at around 1960 as we speak. So, we'll keep an eye on that level. But if that level gets lost by on a weekly closing basis, then there's problems for gold.
All right. Well, we'll look ahead and see what happens. Hey, quiet day for markets.
Yes, a quiet day so far. You could see, the volume trends have been extremely light anyway. But you can see people now are just starting to be a little bit cautious. We're looking at energy today, which is probably the weak link. Oil is down nearly 4%. So that is getting hit. Nat gas, not too bad, down about 1.8%. But all of the energy stocks are getting hammered today. If you take a look at the XLE, down about 1.5%. ExxonMobil down 1.25%. Conoco's down over 2% today. So we're seeing some weakness there. And then you go to the oil services names. They're all sharply lower. You have the OIH, which is the Oil Services ETF. That's down 2.5%. So energy today is under pressure, and you can see traders are very, very selective on what they should do ahead of the CPI report tomorrow.
All right. So banks are strong today. JPM settled with a few Epstein victims.
Yes, it looks like that's what we get. We've heard from the news this morning is that J.P. Morgan Chase has settled with some Jeffrey Epstein victims. We don't really know the details of that or how far it's going, but I still think they are facing litigation in the Virgin Islands. So you want to be careful. Now, J.P. Morgan was positive earlier, but it has since rolled over and now negative by 40 cents today. It's not a big decline by any means, but that's a stock I've been keeping a close eye out for because it's the leader of all the financials. So again, we'll see what the soap opera brings to this stock. But the KRE, which is what I follow most closely, is still positive, but that's starting to roll over too right now, Kerry. A little while ago, that was up by about 2%, and now it's actually flat on the day. So, the story this week is going to be a roller coaster ride. It's going to be a fish tank filled with great white sharks. So, just be ready for a lot more turbulence and whipsaw this week.
All right. So we already talked about gold and silver. What about Bitcoin?
Well, Bitcoin's another drama-related hard case this week. If you take a look at it now, it's starting to fall a little bit, down by 1%. Bitcoin futures are down by about 2%. Earlier today, Bitcoin wasn't very strong anyway to start out the session, so we'll see how it plays out. Bitcoin is another volatile play recently with all of the SEC drama that we saw, the SEC suing Binance. We saw them suing Coinbase. I would be very, very careful with Bitcoin this week going into Options X. It could be all over the map, but even Coinbase, which is a very, very popular crypto type play, today that's down by 5%, and that chart is not looking good. So I think you got to be careful there. Now, the saving grace for Bitcoin at this point in time is that it's holding the 25,000 psychological level. If that level gives way on a weekly close, especially, that could open the floodgates for a much further decline. Either way, if it goes sideways, there's still a chance you get a minor bounce, but I just don't see anything that great for Bitcoin right now.
All right. Well, that's it for today. Make sure you go over to Nick's site, inthemoneystocks.com. See how he's beaten the indexes for decades, and you'll see his trading record as well. And the Twitter feeds at ITMS, at Nick Santiago 01, at Kerry Lutz. And please, your comments are welcome. KL@kerrylutz.com. And write your comments down below on the YouTube channel. We'll get to some of them later in the week. Nick, we will talk to you on Wednesday.
Sounds good, Kerry.